All right, good morning, everyone. Let's kick it off here. All right. The U.S. markets last night, kind of a bit of a non-event. You can see there, I mean, from high to low, I think the range was maybe, 8-9 points. I mean, just a total sideways move on the day and light volume as well. And and I think you can see from the sector view, mixed picture there. We did get some weak data yesterday. Empire Manufacturing, the home builder confidence reports were definitely weak. Coca-Cola's numbers disappointed. We still managed to finish in the green, which we've got 8 consecutive sessions with the Nasdaq up. S&P obviously has also had several consecutive sessions as well. So today, the U.S. Central Bank is going to release its January meeting minutes, the Fed. And then in Asia, we kind of had mixed action as well. Very little leadership. Today Shanghai manages to rally with the rest of the stuff, kind of showing some sort of weakness. The Nikkei was down after yesterday's big move to the upside. Obviously, the yen kind of paired, some of its losses from yesterday. And then we have, we've got Chinese PMI report tomorrow, which I think is going to be a reasonably big number. I think at the moment, every data piece that comes out in China is starting to become more and more important. So I think that's it's like we've been saying, it's very important for us to continue to follow this going forward. All right, this morning we had AngloGold Ashanti was out with fourth quarter numbers of last year. Headline earnings per share, a loss of 692. We were looking for a loss, I think, after the most recent expectations. So that consensus number there of 1 rand earnings, I think, is quite off. And then revenue numbers, I actually think is a beat on the day. So ignore the red that you're seeing there. What the negative side of the numbers was simply that they're paying no divvy, which I think that in itself is pretty negative. You've got to remember that the guys that are running the dividend only funds and things of that nature, if they're holding AngloGolds, their mandate's going to force them to sell over a certain period of time, and they're probably going to want to get out sooner rather than later. So in my mind, I'm thinking there may be a little bit of sell pressure on the stock this morning because they're not paying a divvy, even though I think these earnings are a little bit better than what the recent expectations were. So they also said gold in the outlook that the gold production for 2014 is estimated to be between 4.2 and 4.5 million ounces. The all-in sustaining costs are between $1,025 and $1,075. The capex for this year is expected to be somewhere between 1.3 and 1.45 billion. All right. The market data out today. We had the all industry activity index in Japan, a little bit lower than expected. We've got local CPI at 10. Could play a little bit on the rand, obviously. Also, and some of the retailers and interest rate sensitive stocks. The UK, a lot of data out as well. We've got the Bank of England that's going to release minutes from the most recent meeting. We've got the claimant count rate. We've got the jobless claims change, and then we've got the ILO unemployment rate. Then we've got construction output in the Eurozone, and mortgage apps, housing starts, building permits, and the Fed's going to release their minutes all out later in the States today. So nothing too significant, I think, out today in terms of market data. So going to be looking to follow more market action than anything. All right, let's jump into the maps. Okay, the first one we're going to look at here is RMH. We're going to, this is looking similar to some of these other banks that kind of managed to get above some of those resistance levels. Some of them failed. I think as of yesterday, you can see there we got up yesterday earlier on in the session and really failed this level here at call it 44.70, 45 somewhere in there, and really, in the same sort of pattern a lot of these other banks are looking like. We're looking at a little bit of a potential bear flag move into resistance here. So if we don't get above 45 soon, I think we will see a pullback out of RMH off of this level. We've got Impalas, which is also, and didn't happen so much yesterday, but I called the day before. Really just failed again on trend resistance. You can see there we continue to be in this little, this downward sloping channel. This actually could be maybe a bit of a bull flag if we look at the most recent move, from July all the way out to September. We had a big move to the upside, almost 50 rand, kind of turned around the long-term trend. So if we look back a little bit, that we had this huge downtrend. We had about a 50% retracement. We're starting to fall back again. So it's hard to say that this is a bull flag, but very well could be if we break out to the top of this trend line, trend resistance around 25.5, 126, somewhere in there. This thing definitely will have legs and can go significantly higher. All right, next one, CFR. CFR, same sort of thing. I know we've shown this chart, but it also failed at the top end of the band as of the last couple of days. And the bottom end of support only comes in down around closer to $100. So we may have a little bit more selling to come in CFR over the next few sessions. We've been in this range now for a better part of a year, so I think it's really kind of becoming quite a consistent play. All right, ShopRite. We're going to zoom this in a little bit here, and you can see that this thing's been fighting so hard to hold support up closer to, I think the level's 142. Yeah, call it 142. And we just couldn't hold on to it anymore yesterday. Really dropped out the bottom. What I would look at is, let's just call it, nothing significant, only probably $3 or so in the downside move, probably take us down closer to 139. But for the intraday guys, that's obviously bearish. We're breaking out of that probably would look more correct as a downward sloping triangle here. That's we've dropped out the bottom, and I think that we probably are going to push a little bit lower before we go higher. They do have earnings soon. Just keep that in mind. All right, Exaro was really looking like a perfect setup on a head and shoulder pattern until yesterday, and really just broke up out of the right side of the shoulder on this head and shoulder pattern. So I think that's very important that's actually happened. This chart gone from looking quite bearish to potentially quite bullish. Got up above its 200-day moving average yesterday and above that right shoulder line, all at 152. So unless this thing kind of surrenders 152 today, then which you wouldn't expect, obviously, that it's definitely starting to look more bullish for Exaro. All right, the next one's Glencore. Glencore, sticking with the mining theme here, you can see that Glencore, we're looking at the UK chart. Obviously, it's listed here locally, but it's breaking out in the UK and really has quite a decent upside target here. We'd probably be looking at least 40 or 50p out of Glencore to the upside. So significant that these mining stocks continue to trade very, very well at the moment. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.